Hello everyone, my name is Sabrina Rubio, and this is my Culturally Responsive Library Project, steps 3 through 5. I'm currently not volunteering in any educational setting, and I don't work at a school currently due to some restrictions in my state. Um, so I did get these findings from a local library in my city, and I just went ahead and picked at random any books that were on the shelf. So that's how I'm gonna determine what categories they were a mirror and a window for. So keep in mind that this is just at random. I didn't actually pick these books specifically. Okay, we're gonna start with the first slide, which is gender. So these are the two books that I picked out from the shelf. The first one you can see is of a little girl, and the second one is of a lizard or dinosaur. And right here you can see my graph that I went ahead and drew up, and it shows male, female, non-binary, and non-human. So I had 19 male characters in all the books and 25 male main characters, 15 female characters and 21 female main characters, 3 non-binary characters and 3 main characters that were non-binary, and then 18 non-human characters and 18 main characters that were non-human. Next slide, we're going into race. So these were the books that I picked out by random that happened to fall into this category. Um, so as far as the books that had African American or Black characters, there were 12 and 12 main characters. There were 3 Asian or Asian American characters and 3 main characters. There were 1 Latinx character and 1 main character. There was 1 native or indigenous character and 1 main character. There wasn't any representation for Arab or Arab American characters out of the books that I had chosen. Moving on to white, there were 16 characters and 16 main characters. And then non-human, there were 17 and 17 main characters. For sexual orientation, I actually didn't have any books that were oh, I spelled that wrong. I actually didn't have any books that had lesbian, gay, or bisexual characters, but these are some examples that I was able to find online. And these are some really good examples. Sparkle Boy, they, she, he, as easy as ABC. These are some good examples of books because I didn't have any. Moving on to family structure. The picture to the left is a book that I found, and then the picture to the right is another example I found online. So books that had characters that had a family structure other than 2 parents and children, and there was 2 of those, and then 2 of them were main characters. Moving on to language. I actually didn't have any books that had any different languages in it or that had the topic of different languages. So these are just some examples that I found online. Okay, economic diversity was the other topic that I chose, and only one book that I had mentioned poverty or economic diversity, and it's this book on the left, Chasing Freedom. And Those Shoes was just a book that I found online that I thought would be a good example to include in here. All right, our last topic is religion, and I had 2 books that were about different religion or practices. and that book is Bear's First Christmas. I decided to include this in religion or practice because Christmas can be considered like a religious holiday. I know that at my job, we're not allowed to say Christmas during the holidays. We have to say Happy Holidays because of a religious thing, because a lot of people don't celebrate Christmas. So I did include that. And then to my right, I have an example of a book I found online that was called Hats of Faith. All right, moving on to my classroom demographics. I had 7 female. Again, this is just numbers that I made up myself because I'm not working in a setting where I have access to students. So I had 7 female students, 8 male students, um, 4 Black or African American students, 2 Asian or Asian American students, 5 Latina students, Latinx, sorry. Um, 1 Native and Indigenous student, 1 Arab and Arab American student, and 2 white students. Do I have any students that have family or are non-binary or transgender? And I had 1 student. Do I have any students or are any of my students lesbian, gay, or bisexual? And I had 2 students. I have a family structure other than 2 parents and 2 children, and there was 7. Bilingual students, 6. Children that are religious or practice any kind of religious practice, and I had 2. When it asked what religions, I put Christian and Catholic. For my conclusion questions, how does your classroom library do as a mirror for your students? I believe my classroom library does well as a mirror for students when it comes to subjects of race or gender. The books I found in the library displayed in my presentation cover gender and race and serve as a mirror for those students who share the same identity. However, overall, I think my library could be way more diverse and should have more books covering topics like sexual orientation, language, religion, economic diversity, and family structure. Because it was kind of lacking on all of those subjects. I didn't realize how much they were lacking until I was actually putting all the findings together. So I wish I could have picked better books. How does your classroom library do as a window for your students? Going off what I said in my last answer, I believe the books that cover gender and race serve as good windows for students because they can read about different lifestyles and perspectives, but I don't think the library serves as the best window for the other topics. And again, it could be a lot more diverse. And that is it for my presentation. Thank you.